Baghdad, February 1258 AD. The city has 2 million people. It has the House of Wisdom, the largest library on Earth, 500 years of accumulated human knowledge pressed between covers and stacked on shelves in a single building on the banks of the Tigris River. Greek philosophy, Persian mathematics, Indian astronomy, Arab medicine. Every major text that the ancient world produced, translated, copied, annotated, preserved. The order comes.
The scholars carry the books to the river themselves, not because they want to, because if they throw the books, the soldiers might not throw them in next. The Tigris runs black with ink for 3 days. Then it runs red. The Caliph of Baghdad, supreme spiritual leader of 500 million Muslims, is wrapped in a felt carpet and trampled to death by horses. Because Mongol tradition holds that royal blood must not touch the ground. Even royal blood they are ending. 800,000 people die in 13 days. One family did this. One man started the family. He is the subject of this video, and by the end of it, you will not know what to think of him. Neither do I. 40 million people, 10% of every human being alive in the 13th century. The Islamic Golden Age ended in 13 days. Iran's population reduced by 3/4. Iraq, 700 years to recover. His name is Genghis Khan. What Hulagu did in Baghdad, Hulagu was his grandson. The order, the carpet, the river black with ink, all of it flows from one life that began on the Mongolian steppe in approximately 1162 AD. And this video is going to make you genuinely uncertain about what to think of him. Not because the numbers are wrong, because the numbers are only half the story. His name, before the world knows him by any other name, is Temujin. He is 9 years old when his father dies. Yesuge, a minor chieftain, a man of some standing on the steppe, is poisoned at a feast by Tatar rivals on his way home. He makes it back far enough to send for his son. He does not survive the night. What happens next is not unusual by steppe custom. It is still unbearable to read. The tribe leaves. A widow and children who cannot fight are liabilities in the brutal arithmetic of steppe survival. They are abandoned in winter on the open grassland with what they can carry. The secret history of the Mongols, the only primary source written by Mongolians themselves, records the moment plainly. The clan rides away, and the family is left behind. They do not die. Holun, his mother, keeps them alive on roots and berries and fish pulled from frozen rivers. For years, through winters that kill horses. He is a teenager when a rival clan captures him. They enslave him, force him to wear a kang, a heavy wooden board locked around his neck, so wide he cannot lie down to sleep, so heavy it bows his shoulders. He escapes. One man hides him in a cart of wool. Temujin remembers every person who helps him. He also remembers every person who does not. He will carry both lists for the rest of his life. He is 17 when he marries Borte. Within months, a rival tribe raids their camp. Borte is taken. She is held for months. Exactly how many is not recorded. When Temujin rescues her, she is pregnant. The child born is Jochi. Whether Jochi is Temujin's son or the son of her captor, no one ever knows with certainty. The ambiguity haunts the succession for decades. Temujin raises him as his own. The wound remains. He is 17 years old. He has lost his father, his tribe, his freedom, and now his certainty about his own son. Everything that follows is built on top of this. Merv, 1221 AD. At this moment, Merv is the largest city in the world. Population, approximately 1 million. It is a center of Islamic scholarship, architecture, and trade. A city of libraries and bathhouses and gardens, standing at the crossroads of the ancient Silk Road. It surrenders peacefully. The governor negotiates terms with the Mongol commanders. The population is told to exit the city in an orderly column to be counted. Processed, absorbed into the new order. They exit the city. The gates close behind them. Once they are in the open, away from the walls, the killing begins. Skilled craftsmen are sorted to the left, soldiers conscripted for the next siege to the right. Everyone else, killed where they stand. The chronicler Ibn al-Athir, a man who lived through the Mongol invasions, who wrote the most detailed Islamic account of what happened, set his pen down for years before he could bring himself to describe it. When he finally wrote, he called the invasion a catastrophe such as had never befallen humanity since Adam. He counted 700,000 dead at Merv. Modern estimates range between 300,000 and 700,000. The range itself tells you something about how complete the destruction was. There was no one left to count accurately. The Mongols move on. Survivors who had hidden in cellars, in wells, beneath bodies, they emerge when the army is gone. They begin to bury the dead. The Mongols send a rear guard back. The rear guard kills the survivors. The reason is logistical. If no one survives, no one can count the army's size. It is not cruelty for its own sake. It is cruelty as policy, which is, in some ways, worse. Baghdad, again, but closer this time. There is an anonymous scholar. He has no name in the historical record, which is its own kind of death. He has spent 20 years copying a manuscript, the Arabic translation of a Greek philosophical text that exists nowhere else on Earth in this form. He carries it to the riverbank himself. He stands there. He throws it in. We do not know if he watches it sink or turns away. We know only that the manuscript is gone and the river is black, and this scholar's 20 years of work are somewhere below the surface of the Tigris, dissolving. After the conquest, Hulagu Khan sends a letter to the King of France. "We have killed the Caliph. You are welcome." He expects gratitude. The Crusaders had been fighting the Caliphate for 200 years. He is genuinely confused when Europe does not celebrate. It is a letter that tells you everything about how the Mongols understood their own actions, and everything about how wrong that understanding was. Now hold the wider picture. Iran. Population in 1200 AD, approximately 2 million. Iran. Population in 1300 AD, approximately 200,000. A 90% reduction in 1 century. Not all from direct killing, though there is plenty of that. The Khanate irrigation systems, underground channels that took 1,000 years to engineer, that moved water from mountain snowmelt to desert fields across hundreds of kilometers. The Mongols destroy them. Not from malice, from incomprehension. They are cavalry people. They do not understand what Khanates are or what they do. They destroy them the way you might accidentally step on something you do not know is there. The fields dry out. The crops fail. The famine follows the massacre. The plague follows the famine. Iraq does not recover its pre-Mongol population until the 20th century. 700 years. Not from one battle, from one decision by one man on the steppe in Mongolia, who may never have heard the word Khanate. Before Genghis Khan, the Mongolian steppe has no written law. Power belongs to whoever has the most horses and the most fighters. Noble birth determines rank absolutely. A slave is a slave, a chieftain's son is a chieftain's son, and no amount of ability changes the arithmetic. Women are property, transferred between families at marriage. Disputes are settled by force. There is no appeal. The Yasa, the law code Genghis Khan builds across his reign, changes this, systematically, deliberately. Promotion by merit, not birth. A slave who fights well can command 1,000 men. A nobleman who fails is demoted to the ranks. The son of a chieftain has no automatic claim to his father's position. He must earn it. Women can own property, testify in court, command armies in their husband's absence. Genghis Khan's daughter Alakai governs a vassal kingdom. His wives issue binding orders while he campaigns. In an era when women across Europe cannot testify in court and can be burned alive for reading scripture, in his empire, this is law. Religious clergy of all faiths, exempt from taxation, exempt from military service. All religions, protected equally under the same code. Theft and murder between Mongols, death penalty. The same standard applied to members of the Khan's own family. One law for everyone. He is not above it. In 1215, Pope Innocent III launches the Albigensian Crusade, killing an estimated 1 million Cathar Christians in southern France for reading the wrong Bible.
for believing the wrong things about the nature of Christ. In the same year, a Mongol woman can own property, testify in court, and command an army. Both of these things are happening on the same planet in the same decade.
Genghis Khan is not a modern liberal. He is a pragmatist who understands that a unified law across 33 million square kilometers requires that every person under it has reason to cooperate. But the motive does not change the outcome. He is building a more equal legal system than any of his contemporaries in Europe. His court, at its peak, looks like this. His favorite wife, Sorkaktani Beki, a Nestorian Christian. His court physician, a Chinese Taoist. His chief administrator, a Confucian scholar. His generals, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, shamanist. He himself is a Tengrist, a practitioner of Mongolian shamanism. He reportedly asks his shaman Teb Tengri, "Is it heaven's will that I should be the master of nations?" The attribution is uncertain. The question is not. It reveals a man who believes his conquests are cosmically sanctioned and who, somewhat remarkably, keeps asking for confirmation. The decree is absolute. All religions are to be respected. No religion taxed. No clergy conscripted. In the 13th century, when Europe is burning people for heresy, when the Middle East is fracturing along sectarian lines, the safest place on earth to practice any minority religion is the Mongol Empire. And then, after the conquest, after the killing, comes something no one predicted. The Silk Road, fractured for 300 years by competing kingdoms and bandit-controlled mountain passes, is unified under one administration. The Yam postal system, relay stations every 40 kilometers across the entire empire. A rider changes horses at each. Messages travel from Beijing to Persia in 2 weeks. For comparison, a letter from London to Edinburgh in 1800 AD takes 5 days, and the Mongol Empire, at that point, is more than 5 centuries old and still better connected than most of Europe. Marco Polo travels from Venice to the court of Kublai Khan, Genghis Khan's grandson, in 1271 AD. He spends 20 years there. He returns to Europe with paper money, coal, eyeglasses, and the concept of a census. Europe has none of these things. He would not have made the journey, could not have made the journey, without Pax Mongolica. The Black Death travels the same road in 1347 AD. This is also Pax Mongolica. The infrastructure of connection is also the infrastructure of catastrophe. The same road that carries silk to Europe carries plague to Europe. 1/3 of the European population dies in 5 years, moving along routes that Genghis Khan's empire made safe for travel. He built both. The same road. Hold these at the same time. A 9-year-old standing at a doorway, watching the tribe ride away. Winter on the steppe. No walls anywhere. No one coming back. A teenager with a wooden board locked around his neck, too wide to sleep in, too heavy to forget. A 17-year-old holding his wife's hand and looking at a son whose face he searches for his own features and cannot be certain what he finds. And 40 million dead. And the Yasa, with its equal law and its meritocracy, and its protection for women who had no protection anywhere else. And the river black with ink. The anonymous scholar with the manuscript, 20 years of work, the water closing over it. And the road from Venice to Beijing, opened for the first time in centuries, carrying silk and coal and eyeglasses and the Black Death. He asks his shaman whether heaven wills him to be master of nations. He builds a postal system that connects a continent. He orders the survivors counted and then kills the counters. He raises a son he may not have fathered and makes him heir to everything. He is born a child who loses everything by the age of 9. He dies the ruler of 33 million square kilometers. The distance between those two facts is everything that history cannot explain about him. How much of what a person becomes is made by what was done to them first? I'm not asking you that question to answer it. I am asking it because it does not have an answer, not one that closes anything. I'm not asking you to forgive him. I am asking you to hold everything at the same time and tell me what that feels like. In Mongolia today, His face is on the currency. The largest statue in the world, 40 meters of gleaming steel, a man on horseback facing east, stands on the open steppe outside Ulaanbaatar, catching the light of the same sky he was born under. To stand before it is to understand something about what it means to be a small people who built the largest empire in history. He is the founding myth, the proof of what is possible when a man with nothing refuses to accept that nothing is all he will ever have. He is the father of the nation. Every Mongolian child grows up knowing his name as the beginning of everything. In Iran and Iraq, there is no statue. There is the Qanat system that was never fully rebuilt. The scholarly tradition that the House of Wisdom represented, and that was never fully restarted. The interruption of the Islamic Golden Age is not a metaphor. It is a demographic and institutional catastrophe whose effects are still legible in the region's intellectual history. The irrigation destroyed in a single campaign took 1,000 years to build. The population of Iraq in the year 1258 AD is not seen again until the 20th century. 700 years is not history. 700 years is the distance between then and now, still not recovered. When people in that region speak of the Mongols, they are not speaking of the distant past. They are speaking of the shape of the wound. In Western popular culture, he is a synonym for savage, a verb for destruction, a name that appears on Halloween costumes and in sentences that use him as a shorthand for a kind of violence that preceded civilization. He is the before picture in a story about progress. The punchline is that he ended more civilizations than almost any other figure in recorded history. And the people making that punchline are doing it on a road he built, in a world he connected, carrying ideas that moved along his postal system. 3 groups of people, 1 man. All 3 are looking at the same wound from different sides. The 40-meter steel statue catches the morning light outside Ulaanbaatar. The grass is flat in every direction. No walls anywhere. No borders visible from where you stand. The same steppe he was born on. The same sky. The landscape he rode across for 60 years and left. In the most literal sense, unchanged. Except for everything. The DNA studies, a 2003 paper claimed that approximately 16 million men alive today share a Y chromosome haplogroup that may trace back to him. The number moved through popular science writing for 20 years as fact. More recent research suggests the methodology was substantially flawed. The haplogroup is shared by a lineage, not necessarily a direct ancestor, and the figure is significantly overstated. The honest reckoning is this. We do not know how many direct descendants he has, and the number we have been confidently repeating is likely wrong. The Silk Road still exists. Not the dirt track his riders used, but the routes, the connections, the logic of the path from China to the Mediterranean that his empire made safe and functional for the first time in centuries. The trade corridor that now carries fiber optic cable and container traffic follows. In its essential geography, the same passes and plains. We still call it the Silk Road. We borrowed the name from an era his empire made possible. In languages he never spoke, his name has become a synonym for destruction. In the language of his own people, it means something closer to the one who holds the ocean. He never learned to read. He built a postal system that moved information faster than any technology in the world at that time. He destroyed the greatest library on Earth. He established the legal foundation for religious tolerance across 1/3 of the globe. He killed 40 million people, or 15 million depending on which historian you trust, none of whom were there. The steppe is still there. The morning light is still there. The statue faces east, into the direction his armies rode. Was he the worst thing that ever happened to the world? Or the most complicated?